Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, one and all, to the Choose Your Own podcast. This is episode 3. That's right, we are 3 weeks in bringing you hot content. Make sure that your ears are plugged because we're going to be yelling in your faces.
Yes, sir.
Make sure that your mouthpiece is in because we're going to get into some chronic collisions. For episode 3, we're going to give you a little treat. We're going back to book 1, and we're going to be diving into some alternate realities, alternate possibilities involved in the search for the Abominable Snowman.
Last time we hunted the Abominable Snowman. Today we are hoping to hunt one of nature's more rare creatures, the unicorn. The mystified unicorn.
It's been 3 weeks since we did the last episode, so I'm not aware if we discussed this, but this book has a possibility, a very rare possibility, like we're talking like an Articuno or Zapdos level of possibility, that we find a unicorn. So Blitz and I have talked about this, and we've decided that it is only in our... It is our duty to bring to you good content, and we think it is our duty to go on this journey to find this gosh darn unicorn.
You know, last time we went on a journey in this book, we found Shangri-La, which may be confusing to those of you who saw the first episode, but we'll get to that.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. But we're learning here. But, like, you know, yeah, we found Shangri-La last time, so I feel like we could probably find some UFOs, maybe. It said there might be some UFOs. We'll probably find the unicorn, possibly, but... You know, we're going in at a different angle today. We're just trying to discover everything. We're not trying to get the best ending, which I assume we got. I guess finding enlightenment is pretty darn good. Yeah.
Speaking of enlightenment, this will be our Thanksgiving episode. It happens to be the weekend of Thanksgiving, so I figured, it's appropriate we take a few minutes just kind of talk about what went down this weekend. Blitz, did you do anything interesting this weekend?
I went to a family friend's house with my immediate family, my mom, my dad, my brother, and we had a great time. I actually had a turkey that was air fried and stuffed with bacon, which, for all you meat lovers out there, I highly recommend. It was delicious. Extremely delicious. I had homemade rice pudding, which also blew my mind. And, Thanksgiving's a time for love. We all went around the table, said we were thankful for. It was very sweet. Our family friends also have a ton of dogs who are obsessed with me. So I was, getting down and dirty, playing with all the dogs.
Beautiful.
How are you, Tejj?
Family is, it's kind of corny to say, but family is everything, right? So when you get those moments to spend with the fam, you gotta enjoy it. My fam lives in a different state, so I couldn't spend the holiday with them, but I went to a close family friend's house, and we did all the festivities, did the dinner with all the trimmings, the cranberry sauce, the mashed potatoes, veggies, obviously the turkey. We actually got a turkey that is called a fresh kill turkey. So the turkey that we ate on Thursday afternoon was alive on Wednesday afternoon.
That's fancy.
It was killed on Wednesday night and delivered
by a custom order at that. We
right,
bought this turkey live for you to kill right before you give it to us.
It's from this legit butcher shop. I wish I could shout them out. I don't remember where it was from, but the guy delivered it to the house I was at 7:30 in the morning of Thanksgiving. Sorry, the morning before Thanksgiving. So they got to brine it.
You order it, we kill it.
Yeah, wow. Exactly.
Fresh, wow.
And so basically about as fresh as the turkey as you could possibly get, which you could definitely tell in the taste because it's very fresh.
For all you vegetarians out there.
Sorry, Mom.
We also love animals. Yeah, my mom's a pescatarian, but she tells people she's a vegetarian. Pescatarians eat fish. But fun fact, she will also tell people, for some reason, that she thinks it's funny. She'll be like, I only eat things that don't have legs. But that makes no sense. She eats lobster. I'll be like, Mom, lobsters have legs, and you don't eat snake. You don't eat it's not
So she would eat an IED victim?
Exactly.
Too dark?
What do you know? I don't think it's too dark. I was very confused by this statement. I didn't know what she meant by it. But I love her. Love you, Mama. She cooks really good fish, and she also still cooks meat, which is nice. Yeah, there's a couple things I wanted to mention right before we started the episode, because obviously our first episode of Abominable Snowman was our first episode, and we found many interesting things in this book, both in the book, in the pages of the story itself, but also in the meta in our world. Very interesting things about R.A. Montgomery and such. For one, I found out who Ramsay and Anson are. Ramsay and Anson are R.A. Montgomery's sons. And they wrote some of the books themselves. Anson wrote one called Moon Quest, and Ramsey wrote one called The Grave Robbers, which... That sounds really dark, so we should probably read that one at some point. Happy Halloween. Maybe. And I also found out about Mr. Cool Name Roland Palmetto, who seems to be, unless R.A. Montgomery somehow has a friend who has this same crazy name, a pioneer in developing recreational skiing in our very own United States of America.
That's a pretty legit accomplishment to have, like plastered onto your name, right? Like, hey, I'm the guy who brought skiing to the United States.
I did that. Yeah. And apparently he was also instrumental in National Ski Patrol, and inventing the National Ski Patrol, and was a large investor in early aviation, in the early aviation industry. Like, he helped fund American Airways.
So this is like one of the guys. You know what I mean? He's like the guy.
He's like a prolific, American, dude that no one knows, a powerful American businessman.
That loved to ski and fly.
Yep. He looked pretty smooth. He had slick back hair. He looked like a class act. Yeah, I thought that was
mob ties? Question mark?
Possibly. Like R.A. Montgomery, yes. And, also what I thought was interesting, because I figured, this when I looked up Roland Palmetto, I was like, this is probably the guy, because dude did a lot for the mountains, for skiing and stuff, and we ourselves in the story are trekking up mountains looking for, Bigfoot and Abominable Snowman. So in our own way, we're doing a ski patrol, we're doing similar things. So I like that. I like that R.A. Montgomery's shouting out someone who it seems like historically is relevant to what's happening in the story. That's cool. Yeah. And, is there anything else I wanted to say? I don't think so. Is there anything else, Tejj? I got plenty of notes from last episode.
I think we're ready to dive into this adventure.
Let's dive in, The notes will come when the notes come. Alright, so we figured we'll start on page 5, because we're not going to have to reread everything.
And like we said, keep in mind, we are looking for this gosh darn unicorn here.
Exactly.
So that is our goal.
Yes. Page 5 is the first decision. So we're going to get right to it, I'll start. Should we read the page again, or should I just sum it up?
I think you should read the page again. Start from the top of the page, and then
because we're going to find new pages, so it's better we just read them, even if we've got to before.
So let's just start from the top.
Our character has a name.
That's
Few of you, but they existed, voted for a name, or wrote a name, and we found one very hilarious. And it was... Here, pull it up, Tejj. It's a very funny one. We're going to go with it,
you have to bear with me here. I'm sorry for this quite inappropriate delay.
That's all right. I could do a shout-out in the meantime.
I think it was something like Fredward...
we're about to shout him out. Fredward Garcia.
That's right. It's Fredward
Garcia. Our friend, shout out to the Astral Catastrophe, who said he wants the name to be Fredward Garcia.
I told him it was a front runner. I commented back and told him it was a front runner, but I think we just have to go with it. I mean, I haven't heard a better one, so...
It also goes without saying that, it's very similar to our character from our newest episode we just released, Deep Sea Journey, where our character there that we named is Stefan Turbo Estevez.
That's right.
So there's a little, Spanishy, I don't know, there's something going on there. We got our characters they come from similar things. And I like to believe that all these books are related. Such as how our Mr. Runland, who I'm sure we'll see again, believes that, is in the Illuminati or something, dude knows about, finding Shangri-La and stuff. I'd like to think that maybe whoever he's with are also the people funding Journeys to Atlantis. So maybe it is all linked.
He's like the Rothschild of this Choose Your Own Adventure universe.
I truly believe that without them even knowing it, there is a Choose Your Own Adventure universe.
It's a Choose Your Own Rothschild.
Choose Your Own Rothschild. All right, here we go. You and Carlos, our pal Carlos is back. Love him. Decided then and there to
we all know how I feel about Carlos, don't we? Okay.
Oh, yeah. We let him off easy last time. You and Carlos decided then and there to find the Yeti. When you returned from South America, the two of you raised money from the International Foundation for research into strange phenomena. Your goal? Proof positive that Yeti exist. You will find and photograph the Yeti. That is what brings you to Kathmandu, the capital of Nepal. Your problems, though, have already begun. 2 days ago, Carlos left by helicopter to look over the terrain near Mount Everest. Fucking Carlos. The helicopter returned without him. The pilot told you that Carlos decided to stay up at the Everest base camp to check out a report that a Yeti had been seen. He had a radio transmitter, but you have received no word from him. The weather turned bad, and radio communications were interrupted. You have an appointment to speak with R.N. Runel, there he is, the Director of Expeditions and Mountain Research and an authority on the Yeti. He knows of your plans. You need his help with official permits for the expedition. He will also have good advice and information. But what about Carlos, our great friend who we love, who might need serious mental help? And our decisions, again, are, you guys heard these ones before, but here's where we're at. If you decide to cancel your meeting with Runel and search for Carlos, turn to page 7. Or, if you feel that Carlos is okay and go ahead with your plan to meet Runel, turn to page 8. And I'm going to say right off the bat, I want to know what this book's like if you don't meet Mr. Runel.
I believe... Exactly. So I was going to say, I believe last time we chose...
I think we should have been more worried about Carlos, too.
We chose immediately to go after Mr. Runel, or go to meet Mr. Runel so that we can get information so that we could go after Carlos. And
let's diverge instantly,
I think we just diverge instantly. Stop playing the safe path and we just go for it.
And I will say, there even is a level of logic to it, and just that, like we said last time, like, this time we're like, no, Carlos needs us. And honestly, after learning more about Carlos, it seems like he really might need us. We're lucky he didn't die when we went to R.N. The guy's a psychopath. Guy needs help. So let's go to page 7. Here you go.
We are greeted on page 7 with a nice illustration. Looks like we are flying in this wicked helicopter through a snowstorm as we pass this tented settlement on the valley of this snow-covered mountain. Did my best to describe that there.
Very accurate. Very accurate.
And the text goes as follows. You telephone Mr. Runel at the Foreign Ministry. This is an emergency, Mr. Runel. My friend Carlos is missing at base camp. I need help right now. Of course, I understand. Please allow me the honor of coming with you. I know the region well. You gladly accept the help of Mr. Runel. His reputation as a mountaineer is excellent. He's able to arrange for you a Royal Nepalese Army helicopter to meet you at the Tribhuvan Airport.
Whoa.
2 hours later, you land at the Everest base camp where Carlos was last seen. His red nylon mountain tent is still there, but the storm has erased all footprints. Most reports of the Yeti have them well below base camp, but it is possible that they are up this high, Runel says, as the two of you stand by the tent looking at the glacier and the high peaks. It's interesting that we're presented with a choice here, because it doesn't seem like there's a choice necessary, but it's given us a choice.
So it's also funny that no matter what, you're with Runel, bro. This is what I'm saying. He gets what he wants.
He's
Runel.
the taskmaster.
He already knew what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
He gets in there. Also, the image makes a lot more sense now. We're at this Nepalese, which I remember in the map. It pointed it out. There's a little Nepalese base camp, and it kind of looks like there's a tent that's a little farther away. That's a little different. So I assume that's probably Carlos's. He's a little different in the head. A little not right in the head, so...
the choice presented to us here is if you and Runel search below the base camp in the valley, turn to page 9. If you go above the base camp, turn to page 13. So he did say that it's rare to find them up top. They would be down low, but does Carlos know that? Are we looking for Carlos? Are we looking for the Yeti? Or are we looking for this unicorn? Bro, what are we doing?
I'm trying to... Fredward Garcia lived a life he doesn't even remember, but we do. And he didn't find no unicorns. I'm trying to find a unicorn. This Fredward is looking for unicorns. That might not be his main mission, but he's got his own goals, baby. And, we're quote-unquote looking for Carlos. At this point, I'd say, if we find Carlos, great. Runel's making me a little uncomfortable. He's here no matter what.
That is a little weird, right? The fact that we cannot get away from that guy?
Yeah, totally. I think it's weird. I didn't think it was as weird when he ended up hooking us up a lot, and then obviously things got weird. We found Shangri-La.
Things are about to get weirder. Because it says, all right, so what do you want to do? It says if you search below the base camp in the valley, turn to page 9. If you go above the base camp, turn to page 13. Are we going up or are we going down?
I think logic...
Are unicorns up or down, Blitz?
I think logic would dictate, my dear friend, that unicorns are up. They're up. Why does no one see them?
To page 13 we go.
Because they're all the way up there, bro.
Right.
You can't just see them.
Are unicorns... Now, here's a really important distinction. Are unicorns... Do they fly? Because are they Pegasuses, whatever a Pegasus is? Do they have the ability to fly?
Here's what I believe.
Or do they travel on rainbow dust? How do unicorns get around?
I mean, we'll see.
Do they just hoof it? Do they just hoof it? No pun intended.
Well, so I think probably because unicorns are all about unicorn magic. I believe so. I think we actually have another book where we'll get to this book when we get to it, but. There's a unicorn on it. It might be walking, it might be flying, I don't know, but it seems pretty darn magical. So I would say the difference between a Pegasus and a unicorn is that a Pegasus might be less super magical, but has wings naturally. in a fantasy realm, whereas a unicorn would use magic to fly or something, exactly like it would poop out a fucking rainbow.
Got it.
Something like that.
Okay. So it is possible that it is up top. Okay. Should I keep going? Would you like to?
Sure. I'll read this one. Fredward Garcia waits for no man. Sorry, Renal. Sorry, Carlos. Above the base camp are the dangerous seracs. These huge blocks of ice are always moving, and people climbing through this maze of ice are in constant danger. Runel leads the way. You both have crampons on your boots. A slender red and yellow nylon rope links the two of you. It's a safety rope. Watch out! Jump! A block of ice quivers and tumbles to the side, sending clouds of snow and ice crystals in the air. Runel had seen it just in time. You move more slowly now, wary of these treacherous seracs. On the backside of the serac, as large as a 2-story house, you find him. Carlos is sitting in the sun, fidgeting with his camera. So the dude did go the most dangerous route. Dude's a psychopath. Dude, I like this playthrough already, because we're seeing the truth about Carlos now. Fuck you, Carlos. I regret saying goodbye to you last episode. You're a sick man. I said last episode maybe Destiny led us or something, but you know what? What are you doing, bro? These seracs are dangerous. Super dangerous. We were in danger. Also, I'd like to point out that there's the illustration here on this page is very similar to the illustration in the front of the book when you open it up. That's them, climbing up this, mountain, starting climbing up with the seracs, which are just, bulges in the mountain that could fall apart and, kill you. And there's, clearly you could fall and die as far as they're up already. So that's interesting. Let's get back to it. Hey, what are you guys doing here? That's what we want to know. You scared us to death with your disappearing act. What's up? Carlos puts the camera away and, after you introduce him to Runel, explains that he found tracks. Yeti tracks, perhaps, and followed them. He tried to radio, but the weather blocked it. The tracks faded, and he couldn't find his way back to the camp. He had been sitting and waiting. Runel examines one track protected from drifting snow, and explains that they are blue bear tracks and not Yeti tracks. So disappointed, you go back to the helicopter and return to Kathmandu. Turn to page 14. Wow, so, Carlos, you're getting a little eccentric there, buddy. You think you saw the Yeti, you think you found his tracks. It's a blue bear. How about you do your research, man? You're embarrassing yourself, man. Here, you want to get this one? Yep.
The next day, you go to the shop of Sanji Podang Sorba, a well-known Sherpa guide. Carlos stays with Runel, getting the permits. You enter the store, and there, behind a counter stacked with dried food in plastic bags, tanks of gas from mountain stoves, wool hats, is Sangi Sorba. You introduce yourself, and immediately you like this man. Oh, that's cool. Isn't that nice when you just meet somebody and you're like, I could fuck with you, bro.
Yeah, he's just a nice dude. Nice Sherpa.
You introduce yourself, and immediately you like this man. He is warm and friendly, and recently he's been with the Japanese expedition to Pomori and a French Everest attempt. Maybe you should ask him to join you as you search for the Yeti. If you ask Sangi to come along in your expedition, turn to page 23. If you wait and decide to talk it over with Carlos, turn to page 22. Well,
I know what you're going to say.
Well, I am not a person to immediately, like somebody and then, have them, join on to something that, sure. I'm doing or something like that.
For sure.
So, I instinctively don't want to go that route. But the fact that it says talk it over with Carlos, fuck Carlos.
We can't trust Runel. Carlos is a psychopath. That's exactly what I'm saying. I knew you were thinking that. It's is it smart to talk to your friends? Yeah, but I don't think we can really trust Carlos's opinion. So
I think this Sanji fella is
Sherpa, bro.
is the one that we feel the most close to, at least the one that I feel like we get along the most with. So I think we should take him with us. So regardless of what Carlos thinks, I say we invite him to come.
He's got good Sherpa vibes, and he deserves to see the Yeti. He's our friend. He's a pal. He's a pal.
We're in concurrence with this. So we're flipping to page 23.
Let's do it. 23. How about joining us on our search for the Yeti, Sanji? He smiles and hesitates. Then he picks up 2 sticks of incense. One is longer than the other. He lights them both, and their rich fragrance fills the air of his small store. You see, as one fragrance merges with the other, we do not know the difference between them. Only when the shorter stick burns out will we know which stick was the fragrance of rose, and which was the fragrance of magnolia. You are puzzled by his talk of incense. You ask, so what does this mean, Sanji? It does not mean anything. It only is. You are really confused now. What to do? Perhaps you should leave this talk of incense alone and forget about asking Sanji to join you. Maybe he's crazy. And then we got choices here. If you back out of the offer to take him on an expedition, turn to page 33. Or if you persist and try to understand his point, turn to page 38.
I say that you can't go back on your word. We
already invited the guy.
We invited the guy, even though he might be a little loop-de-loop. We still think that he's legit. So I think we stick it through. He could be of very good use to us on a dangerous expedition like this. You want somebody experienced, especially since we're going to be rising altitudes. If one of us dies of, oxygenation issues, this Sherpa guy is going to be around to help us out.
And, Fredward, us, Fredward, we're a nice guy. He seems like a nice guy. We're just going to goof him now and, he gave us wisdom, bro, just because we don't understand it recently. I know, as Fredward, I'm not just going to give up on someone because they give me cryptic advice. This dude's been living in these mountains. I wouldn't be surprised if the incense had something to do with the Yeti. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it's just an analogy, but I definitely remember when we went to that, monastery in the last one, it's definitely, incense and stuff, and, the Yeti was vibing there, so I feel like that'll definitely benefit us, having a friendly man who knows his, incense magics.
Can't disagree with you there. Incense magics come in handy when you least expect them.
And I'd like to say, because we were talking about this is very interesting quickly, just how in the last episode we talked about how it's like Looper, how you can lose and make new decisions or start again and make different decisions. And it's funny how we can recall things now from our old playthrough and use them. Like when that monk guy gave us that really cryptic advice, if you guys remember. If not, check it out when he's basically don't listen, don't trust your ears. What did he say? Something about, trusting in your, heart and stuff, and not, because the Yeti might seem crazy, but he's really friendly, or, he's sad, something like that, truth about the Yeti. It never came into play when we ended up in Shangri-La, but perhaps it'll come into play now, which is, some crazy time travel, you do something in one dimension in a different reality, you retain that knowledge. That's a cool thought.
Yeah, that is a very cool thought.
Yeah,
Blitz just dropped a knowledge bomb on all of us. I was not expecting that, by the way, so I'm just sitting here slack-jawed thinking about that now.
Made me think about it, yeah. If you back it, we're taking them. 38. Let's do it. I'm glad you're thinking about it. This book's been getting real deep. All right. Okay, so you want me to choose which stick is rose and which is magnolia? Is that it? Is it a test? If I'm right, you'll go. If not, you won't? Sanji smiles, displaying gold caps on 3 of his upper front teeth. Oh, dude's a baller. He nods his head. Here goes. You say. The longer stick is Karishmi rose incense. Sanji claps his hands, brings them up to his forehead, and bows slightly, saying, Namaste, Barab Sahib. I am at your command, master. Oh. It is decided. He will accompany you. You have chosen the right one. Some things just happened by chance. This was one of them. You ask, where should we head? Annapurna or the Lhotse Everest region? What do you think, Sanji? Many have seen Yeti prints near Everest. But there is the region near Annapurna and Macha Picchu, Fishtail Mountain, where we could have good luck. The Everest region has been more well explored. Annapurna is less well known. And then our choice is page 50 for Annapurna, page 48 for Everest. What do you think, pal?
I think we go to Annapurna, I think. What do you think?
I think so, too. I think it's people don't usually see the Yeti, so even if you've spotted him in Everest, I'd assume most of the time he's probably not hanging out there, Makes sense. You're not hanging out in the most explored area all the time if you're trying to maintain notoriety. Well, not infamy. Or, I don't know what the word is, but there you go. You don't want to become notorious. So you want to go to Annapurna? Annapurna?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Page 50, baby. You go, Tejj.
2 days later, with permits obtained and supplies bought, you, Carlos, and Sanji start the long journey from Kathmandu to Pokhara. 3 days after that, you and your party, along with 12 porters to carry the supplies, #porters, are camped in a high field above the valley floor near a small village named Dumpus. Where are you from? I'm from Dumpus. It's a real dump over there.
We were taking our kids to Dumpus for the softball game.
It sounds like that's where all, like, the tragic Ferris wheel accidents happen, in Dumpus.
Sounds like someone wrote a movie like that movie from Tropic Thunder, like the fake Jack Black movie with all the farting. Like, that's where they're from.
Like a supervillain named
Jeff Portnoy.
Rick Dumpus.
Yeah, Rick Dumpus was an ordinary man until he fell into a radioactive septic tank.
All right.
He is Fecal Man.
That night, after a dinner of brown rice and lentils, onions and garlic, you sit in front of your Red Mountain tents.
We'll be taking a big dumpus.
After that meal, we are taking a dumpus. You sit in front of your Red Mountain tents, watching the moon play on in the snowy white flanks of Annapurna and Debaucheries. It is silent and chilly. You are tired from the climb, but glad to be alive in this magical kingdom. With the darkened village behind you, you feel as though your group may be the only people on Earth. Surprisingly, you see a light flash on Annapurna. It repeats, then again. It may just be a reflection, or another party, or it may be a signal from someone in trouble, or it may be a signal from the Yeti.
Oh boy.
So, we don't know what it is, basically.
We don't know what it is.
We're very confused.
I'm confused, yeah. What are these lights? It's like a pattern? Like flashing lights?
I think he, is just tired, distraught, doesn't really have an idea of what is what, and...
We're a little out of sorts.
He's a little out of sorts.
Fredward's out of sorts.
But it says, if you think it's a signal, turn to page 67. If you think it's another climbing party, turn to page 65. This is a very interesting choice because this is the first time in all these books that I've read that it's been giving us a choice based on what we think rather than what we want to do. All the other choices
giving us no indication.
All the other choices are, if you want to do this, turn to this page. If you want to do this, turn to this page. This is the first one that's like, if you think it is a blank.
It's like, we know we're not giving you all the information. You have to use your instincts.
What do you think it is, Blitz?
I mean, flashing lights. I don't know if the Yeti would be flashing lights, but perhaps it's like not directly the Yeti, but is involved with the Yeti. We know he checks out like the monasteries and stuff.
See, the two options are, if you think it's a signal, turn to page 67. If you think it's another climbing party, turn to 65.
Oh, it doesn't even say it might be the Yeti.
It doesn't even give us the Yeti option.
Even though it says it in the... That's interesting.
Right.
So it's like, we know it's unlikely. Okay, that's funny, because I was thinking like, maybe it is the Yeti. Maybe he's old RA is giving us a little trick.
Good old RA?
Yeah. Shout out. I think it might be a signal. I mean, we know this place isn't well traveled, maybe there's other people out here, but we know it's not like usually where there are other people, So I think like if I'm just like don't know what to think and I just have to think like what makes sense to me in the moment, we're trekking in this snow and like I think it makes sense to think it might be a signal because it is a more like a less traveled thing, so perhaps there are signals. Maybe there's ski patrol out there, some rolling palmetto ski. Maybe there's people out there like exploring the area, or like maybe it's another climbing party, but maybe it's also like I don't know. I think it might be a signal. I don't think another climbing party is just here. What do you think, Tejj?
My immediate instinct is that it is a signal because it says, surprisingly, you see a light flash on Annapurna. Surprisingly leads me to believe that he wasn't expecting it. If there was another climbing party,
exactly,
he would probably expect it. I think that the fact that it is still at first and then repeats, and the fact that he doubts whether it's a reflection or not, leads me to believe that it is a signal of some sort. Someone trying to signal of something.
Yeah, it sounds like it could be a signal because, from all sorts of stuff I've seen and read, and it could be like Morse code or something, like you're seeing the light go in and out. That's like how signals work. That's how, a lighthouse, what's a lighthouse signal? It's a light, That's a real thing, and I don't think there's just people up here like, oh my god, but I mean, maybe we could be wrong. But let's do it. We're in agreement. So let's think it's a signal. 67. Hope we find this unicorn, man. Ooh, more nice art. We'll get to that, though. Look at that flashing light, Carlos. Once again, the light blinks 3 times, then stops. Then it blinks again. What do you think? Could be trouble? Sanji says, oh, no, okay. This could be an emergency signal, but it is very far from here, across the valley and just below the glacier. We could go, or I could return to Pokhara and report it to the authorities. How much time would it take you to get back to Pokhara? I can go faster than our whole group. Perhaps it would take a day, and they would send a helicopter. Without outside help, there is little we could do if there is someone in trouble, but they may need help quickly. Oh boy. Emergency signals. We got two choices here. Should you respond to the call for help? If so, turn to page 85. Or, if you decide to let Sanji return to Pokhara for help, turn to page 83. So 85 or 83. Do we go for it, or do we send Sanji back? And I'd also like to say, we got a mountain here, like we're looking at the signal now, we kind of see it, like we trek through the snow and we see it like a farther mountain.
So what are the options? We send Sanji back to do what, exactly?
Because Sanji's saying it'll be very hard for us to help him unless I go back. I'll get back the fastest. I know the trails or whatever. I can get back in about a day, and I could get a helicopter out there that could investigate it. That's probably he's basically like, that's probably the smartest thing to do, most likely work. But if this person needs help quickly, we might have to just all go. So we're either sending him and continuing, and he's going to go get help. He's going to get the helicopter, or we're just going to go and investigate it ourselves. See if anyone needs our help urgently. Yeah. What do you think?
I say we go.
Let's go help them.
Let's go.
We're looking for unicorns, bro. Maybe they're signaling because who knows?
Maybe the sun is glimmering off the unicorn's horn. You never know.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Look where it is. Look where it is in this picture. It's like right on this glacier. It looks like something could be standing up there far away that we couldn't see. I'd also like to say quick shout out to the illustrator in this books. We saw in the back of the books earlier that they give little descriptions of authors and illustrators, and so we thought we'd give a nice shout out. Today we want to shout out Laurence Piguet, who was born in Lens, France, which apparently is very beautiful. That's what it said in the description. He did cartoon portraits in Epcot Disney World at one point in his life, which is very interesting. And he works for the French creative group 2 Minutes as an animator. Thought that was interesting. Shout out, dude. You're a great artist. Yeah. Let's get back to it. So what do you want to do? We're going there?
Yeah, we're going there. Full steam ahead.
All right, Sanji returned. No help. 85. Oh, something's happening. It's your turn, buddy.
Okay.
I'll just let you all know now. We didn't find the unicorn.
Yet. So, it says, it takes you most of the night to tread your way down steep, tricky trails to reach the valley floor. Once there, you start up the immense Annapurna, scrambling over rocks and skirting the glacier. It is cold, and the night seems long to the three of you. Several more times you see flickers of light. Now you are sure you've done the right thing. Someone needs help. Near dawn, Carlos says, "Stop! I think I see something." Before your eyes, you see what you had come for. Dancing around a large fire are 11 Yeti.
Well, we found more Yeti.
You have stumbled into a Yeti celebration at the end of the monsoons. You quietly watch, taking pictures and making notes. You have proved, at last, that the Yeti really exist. Months later, in Paris, France, at the International Explorers Convention, you and Carlos are given the highest award for your work. Success is both exciting and lonely. Good luck.
Nice. Well, we got another less intensely extreme and deep ending. That isn't terrible. I saw it and I was like, oh, geez, what's about to happen? And let me just say, shout out again, Lawrence. This picture is hilarious. It looks like all these Bigfoots, all different sizes. Some are more feminine, some are more masculine. There's kids. A lot of different ones. It looks like that's our boy Zodak right there. It looks like one of them might actually just be Zodak. And they're all doing it looks like they're halfway through Charlie Brown animations, like Charlie Brown dance animations. If you've seen any Charlie Brown when they're just doing that 2-frame dance, and they're all moving their hands and legs around in different ways. That is exactly what it looks like.
So, I just want to say, I was just rifling through the pages to find back where we should go, and I stumbled upon the picture with the unicorn on it. What do you want me to do?
No, we can't do that. Oh, it's so tempting. I want to earn it. I want to earn the unicorn. Stop it. No, Tejj, no. No.
Okay.
All right. Let's go back. We don't have to go back all the way.
Yeah,
we
we're
can
going
go
back.
back different decisions.
We
could still screw Runel.
Okay, let's go back to the second to last decision, because you know how the Runel decision, you have to get to Runel regardless. Yeah. So for all of us who are following along with the book, we're going back to page 7, which was the decision after the Runel decision, where it says if you want to search the base of the camp or go up to the top. We searched high to find Carlos. Now we're going to search low, okay? So we're going back to that page. It says if you below search the base in the camp of the valley turn to page 9. So we're going to page 9. So join us at page 9. We are still looking for this unicorn.
One thing I'd like to say about the ending we got before we continue is I think it's funny that it asked us, like, what do you think? It's one of these two things, but in the text it said it could be Yetis. And it actually was the Yetis. The one we couldn't have even chose anyway.
Right.
But we still had a good thought in our head.
And we were also wrong about the fact that it was a signal.
Yeah, it was just a fire and some Yetis. Like, it actually was closer to just the other people, because there was just a fire, like... Because they were dancing in front of it, so that's why I kept, like, flickering in and out, probably.
Probably,
you know?
right.
Or it's just a fire, you know, so it's crackling. It looked like a really nice fire. Those Yetis know what they're doing. I mean, they're not Yetis. If you guys don't remember from the last episode, I don't even know if it's in there. Like I said, stupid stuff happened. We're learning YouTube. The Abominable Snowman turned into us at the end of the last episode, which I thought was super weird. Like, and the book's kind of like, what does this mean? You'll never find out about that.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a different ending where we find that out or something. But yeah, the Yeti had transmorphed into us and was like, peace, brother. And just left. So, all right, page 9. Who's reading it? You want to read it?
Yeah, I'll jump right into page 9. At the top, it goes, the helicopter stays at base camp, and you and Runel descend on foot along a narrow, rocky path below the snow line into the pine forest. It takes many hours of careful walking. The trail suddenly becomes very steep, and one side falls off more than 1,000 meters to a river gorge. You come to a small stone house with a thatched roof. A woman sits in the sunlight by the door. Can you tell us if any climbers came by here? My friend is about 5'9", medium build, has dark hair. Runel, translate your description into Nepali. The woman nods and says 2 men came by. The younger one left a note. The note says, don't follow. Wait at base camp. Carlos. Runel turns to you with a puzzled look on his face. Carlos is your friend. If it were up to me, I would ignore this message. But you know him better. What now? What do you think? If you obey the message and climb back up to the base camp to wait for Carlos, turn to page 20. If you ignore the message and decide to go look for Carlos, turn to page 15.
Fuck Carlos.
Yeah. Let's ignore them. No. Yeah, no, so when you say fuck Carlos, you mean let's not go look for him, let's wait at the base camp.
Or, I guess not fuck Carlos then. I wanted to continue exploring this area. I meant more fuck Carlos as in, like, let's not wait for him at base camp even though he asked us to.
I think the base camp move might be the right move.
Yeah, let's wait for him.
It's a gut,
because maybe it'll lead us to some other.
It's a gut call, I think. I think if we go back to the base camp, wait, something's going to happen.
You only got us killed once, so I trust your gut mostly.
All right,
let's do it. Let me get it.
Page 20.
I want this baby. Probably best to return to base camp, you say. However, it is getting late, and the trail back up will be especially dangerous at night. I think we should stay here until dawn, Runel counters. You make arrangements with the woman to spend the night. She brings you a simple meal of rice, squash, and buttered tea. You are very nervous, but you trust Carlos's judgment. Whatever is going on is out of your hands for now anyway. You can't sleep, and the wind of the high mountains keeps you restless and heightens your worry. Close to dawn, you hear a high, piercing scream. Turn to page 31.
What did I say? As soon as you go back, you're just going to wait, and then something's going to happen.
But it's also, like... It's funny because it's like... Yeah, exactly. Like, we're just chilling either way. It's like, oh, continue or stay? We can't go either way. We got to stay in this new area. Yowie! The noise seems to be coming from right outside your window. Runel moves quickly to the doorway. The woman is outside the house at the edge of the trail, holding up a battered kerosene lantern. You hear the cry again. This time it is even louder. Yowie! Yee! Yowie! Suddenly the sound diminishes. It seems to be going farther and farther away. The woman waves her lantern. Is it a signal, or is she trying to frighten whatever it was away? Those are the Yetis, she says. They invite you to join them and your friend Carlos. What should you do? This is more than you had bargained for. You look at Runel, and then at the woman. It is chilly in the half-light of morning. The Yeti sound is growing fainter by the minute. If you follow the sound of the Yeti, turn to page 43. If you return to the base camp in the helicopter, turn to page 45. Well, now we're just getting invited to a Yeti party. So that's interesting. It's like no matter what we do, we can't not find the Yeti. But maybe now we'll go to base camp. You want to not do the obvious thing and find the Yetis? Because maybe that'll just end it right away, right? Or maybe it won't. I don't know.
I've kind of noticed that the theme of these books is like no matter what I think is going to happen,
it never does.
The opposite, or
it's not like nothing will happen, but it's never exactly what you think.
It's either the opposite's going to happen, or it's something that I absolutely. It's like none of the options that I was expecting.
Exactly. It's like, was it Yetis? Neither of the options. It was Yetis. You know? This game is great. This game book. Yeah, nice illustration here again. It's like a nice little little house where we're staying at. The lady actually looks
Base
pretty
camp
happy.
lady. Proprietor lady.
Miss Yowie Yee. She's making like cartoon Looney Tune sound effects for yells. So are we returning to base camp? Are we doing the unexpected? Do you want to return to base camp instead of dance with the Yetis, or what are you thinking?
I want to do the thing that we're not supposed to do.
Yeah, like let's
the
be like...
not obvious choice.
Exactly, let's be like, Yetis, it's kind of late, let's go back to base camp.
Right, exactly.
We gotta find Carlos.
Even though the whole point of this book is like, you're a Yeti researcher, look, I want to be in a situation where...
Carlos is either dead or he's fine, the way I see it. They're saying they invite you to join them and your friend Carlos, and they seem pretty powerful, these Yetis, so, dead or alive, having a great time, seems like we should just go to base camp. Not get involved, we don't know. We don't know, man. Let's go to page 45. Boom.
We've got to get back to the base camp, you say. Runel grabs your arm. I know that cry. It's the battle cry. The cry of anger and revenge. We'll get help and come back for Carlos. Why are they angry? We've done nothing to them. Too many people have hunted them, tormented them, and they've had enough, Runel answers. The trail seems much steeper. Finally, you are at the edge of the glacier where the camp was pitched. The light of the late morning sun nearly blinds you as it flashes off the ice. The helicopter lies smashed in the snow. The rotor blades are twisted and the plexiglass is shattered. There's no sign of the pilot, just giant footprints. Yeti footprints, leading off to the heart of the icefall.
This is what happens when you piss off Yetis, ladies and gentlemen. They are not always having parties and showing people the way to enlightenment.
So now our options are, if you follow the prints, turn to page 57. If you stay by the shattered helicopter, hoping for help, turn to page 55. I want to follow the prints, but I think that means we wait by the helicopter.
Me too, because it also seems like these Yetis, Runel was like, yeah, these Yetis are in killer mode, so... Yeah, let's wait by the helicopter. Let's be we're going to be passive. We're going to let things come to us.
Alright. It says, you stay near the remains of the camp, following Carlos's instructions. Runel agrees that this is the right thing to do. You see, my friend, the high mountains, this roof of the world, they hold secrets, mysteries, dangers. We have trespassed. We should wait and see what happens. You wait for a while, but you decide that you have to do something to save Carlos. Maybe the old woman lied. Maybe she made up the story about Carlos being with the Yeti. Maybe the weird cries were some kind of temple horned down in the valley. Maybe it was a phony. But why? You were confused. Runel's going back down after Carlos. No, sorry. I take that back. It says, Runel, I'm going back down after Carlos. You stay here if you wish. I can't leave him. Runel agrees, but he says to wait for a search helicopter. Now it has us turning to page 76. No
Man, we
choice.
cannot get away from this guy Carlos. They're angry. We can't leave him with them. Let the man die. You sound like the Joker. 76?
76.
You start down the trail, and right before your eyes, a round orange-colored mass appears. A round orange-colored mass appears. It hovers near you. It's about the size of a beach ball. Zap! You are hit by a light beam. It feels as though you are being bathed in warm salt water. It's rather pleasant, and removes all fears. You don't want to run or hide from this creature, whatever it is. Hey, it's cool. I'm not your enemy. I'm not bad. Who are you? Or I mean, what are you? You stand still, and several more of these round, glowing blobs gather around you. Earthling wishes knowledge. Earthling friendly. Release light beam. Sensor indicates Earthling is honest and speaking only truth. The light beam switches off, and in a way, you miss the comfort of its warmth.
Aliens!
I wish Carlos were here, you say. Before your eyes, Carlos appears. Carlos, what's up? Where did you come from? This is weird. Turn to page 78. I gotta say, something that bothers me about that is I'm scared of stuff like that, like weird beams that make you feel good but are probably for bad stuff. Like, I think this will be fine. RA's not trying to terrify children for their entire lives.
Or is he? Subliminally.
That's like a nice, like, I like deep horror and stuff. I like the idea of, like, I talked about it in another episode too, but like Hellraiser, it's like their version of pleasure and pain are like all mixed up compared to ours, and they could be like, yeah, you feel good now, but now you're in some hell torture dimension. So, food for thought there. Alright, here we go. Carlos smiles at you. Hey, your wish was granted. That's the way it is with these Movidians. If they like you and believe in you, then your thoughts and wishes become real. I've been with them for the last 2 days. Up here in the mountains, things seem really clear and easy to understand. These mechanical creatures, well, they are higher beings. They use the mountains as their earth base. There is a humming sound, like cats purring. It's coming from the 3 creatures that Carlos calls Movidians. One speaks again in a high, mechanical-sounding voice. Hey, I got it right. Time now for a decision. We invite you to come with us to the planet of the seas in the void of the 7 moons. Will you come? If you go, turn to page 100. If you refuse, explaining your mission to search for the Yeti, turn to page 102. Alright, so I'm sure this is linked to what happened to us in our first run through when we found, like, Shangri-La. Seems like that we got some weird robot aliens, higher beings. It reminds me of, I don't know how much you know about Transformers, Tejj, but they're the species that created...
All hail Megatron, what do you mean?
Well, listen, so you might enjoy this. The species that invented the Transformers.
Yeah, what about them?
In the original generation,
Uh-huh.
he, like in the original generation one of the show, the Quintessons were this, like, computer race. They were, like, a crazy, like... So, like, the Transformers are, like, more, like, mechanically moving around robots with AI, but the Quintessons were, like, computer beings.
Uh-huh.
And they're, like, the higher beings. Like, they're made of metal. It's, like, there's more than even one type of metal being. It's, like, that's what this makes me think of. They're, like, Quintessons. They can make any of your dreams come true. They're, like, fucking living computers. So that's pretty cool. The picture is also super funky, because we're already seeing...
These creatures look like they could be pets for the Autobots. You know what I mean? Like, they look like...
Yeah. They have no eyeballs. Which, you know, they're robots, but still a little creepy.
You don't need eyeballs when you got sensors.
I get it. You got sensors. You got your laser.
That's like
laser communicators.
That's like race cars don't
your
have
compressed suits.
That's like race cars don't have headlights. Those are just stickers.
Listen, I get it. I'm just saying it looks creepy. Except this one right here. This one just looks like it's sleeping. But yeah, they look like pets or something or animals. They're all robots, or robotic. It looks like you're on some like rocky planet. There's like a floating orb with one of them in the background. Actually, that looks like a normal creature, but who knows? Yeah. So we're already looking at some weird stuff. I know it's not the unicorn, but I kind of want to go and see what the hell's going on, because maybe we'll find out more about our confusing experience, the Shangri-La. What do you think? Or do you want to do the hilarious thing and keep with our passivity and be like, if you want to do this. Oh, all my dreams come true? Which, like, first of all, bro, if all your dreams come true, you could just also find the Yeti.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you would say no to this offer.
And we also just avoided the Yeti to get to these aliens. So, like, what's the move, you think?
Exactly. Like, we've been very passive at finding the Yeti, but I feel like now the most passive thing to do is to forget about the Yeti and just go. Because we have to explain our mission to them. It's like, oh, we found some other cool shit.
All right, do it.
Fred, I mean, how do you say no to this? How do you say no to weird robot Autobot
Robot kitty cats? How could you say no?
You can't. You can't. If you go, turn to page 100. There we are.
Page 100. It says, you and Carlos decide that it's too good an opportunity to pass up. You experience no fear or real hesitation. Maybe that has something to do with the light beam that seemed to wash away fear and doubt. The head Movidian hovers near you. You even imagine that it is smiling, in spite of the fact that it has no face.
They're giving off positive vibes.
What do we call you, you ask? For a moment, there is just a humming of electrical circuits. Then the Movidian answers, you may call me Norcoon. I am an X-52AA intelligent mobile aviator being. I am head of this advanced party. We will call you Earth 1 and Earth 2.
Oh shit, we're getting into some DC shit
right now. This is actual legit, because, like, it says it's an X-52AA mobile activator being. And it's the head of this advanced party. So they only send advanced parties when they're going to be sending other large parties of people.
And it's like, think about that now. This guy seems like not the highest rank of whatever this. Who made these guys?
And not only that, he answered very militarily. You know what I mean? He said, like, I am X-52AA, mobile activator being. Yeah,
he used digis.
He gave you his badge number, as they say out here in Brooklyn. What's your badge number?
Pulled it out and was like, freeze, higher being.
So he says, we will call you Earth 1 and Earth 2. With a hiss, the creatures sink into the ground, where they sit and glow. Norcoon says, please, it is easier to travel the planet of the seas in the void of the 7 moons if you remove your body and let your mind float free.
Oh, jeez.
You look over at Carlos. What does this creature mean by remove your body? How? I mean, we are our bodies, says Carlos. Norkun points his light beam at you, and once again you feel the warmth and pleasure you felt before. Fear vanishes, and before you know it, you're free.
Oh, geez, we just left our bodies?
104.
I mean, I believe that. I 100% believe, our mind and body are one, but they're also separate, but that's fucking terrifying.
So it says, pure mind, no matter. Norkun approves and offers you space aboard his mechanical transporter. Inside the pumpkin shape, there is plenty of room for you and Carlos and all your thoughts. Now, my friends, we are on our way to the planet of the seas. It's where all thoughts end up. You whirl away, confident that one day you will return wiser and better and able to help others in a world where the going is rough.
That's way scarier than our Shangri-La ending.
Also, the illustration on the page right next
I'm a
to
little
it
confused by that.
looks exactly like the pumpkin carriage in Cinderella, like the one that the fairy godmother makes out of a pumpkin. That's exactly what that looks like.
I thought of Never-Ending Story 2, which isn't exactly a pumpkin, but like the carriage the villain has going around with the main character when he's taking his memories.
Right.
Which is very similar to what's happening here. And you know what? It's funny, though. They took our minds, but we're there. We're on...
No, they took our matter. They left our minds.
I mean, that's what I mean. Yeah, excuse me. They took our matter, but if you look at the image, Tejj, it looks like we're still, like, we have some sort of non-corporeal form that still looks like us. Like, we're still ourselves, which is nice. I guess in a way we're still finding enlightenment. Or actually, I think this is even crazier. It's like, we're in the realm where all thoughts end up.
It's crazy how this really does look like a gourd, though. Look, there's a stem up top with little vines and things. Because these are, like... pumps, but these are definitely vines up here.
Perhaps like the aliens, it is a organic ship. Ooh. A robotic, also organic ship.
And we do have to say, we did get to the alien ending, which is just about as rare as the unicorn sighting.
And I think we might have found the other alien ending too, it says, because we did end up in
Shangri-La. And we did find the helicopter crash also.
Yes, we found the helicopter crash. Wow, we're doing great. We found another ending. Unicorn sighting's really the only main one. There's plenty of endings, but I mean... I am looking for this unicorn, man. I mean, I'm hyped about that last ending. I love this idea of we're going to the realm of thought. You know me, Tejj. I'm very spiritual. I believe in a lot of stuff like that. I'm all about the power of the human mind and thinking something, making it real in some degree, like a thought or a word you can make up is real. And, like, that's so cool to me that, like, all thoughts go there. It also, funny enough, reminds me of Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
I was thinking that the whole time. I was trying to think of an appropriate way to, like, segue into that. Because I figured we could spend at least 5 minutes talking about Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
George Lopez is my favorite character in that movie. I just think he's hilarious. But
if you had to be one, would you be Shark Boy or would you be Lava Girl?
I mean, power-wise, I feel like Lava Girl has way cooler powers. But I will say this, Shark Boy...
She just melts Shark Boy. It's that simple.
Yeah, it's like, but Shark Boy... never mind. Yeah, lava powers are way better.
What's Shark Boy gonna do? I mean,
Shark Boy also sings that really,
unless
really
he's
weird
by the
rap
water.
Song. Remember that hip hop song he sings where he's like, dream, 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 when he's making the kid fall asleep? I don't know. I remember that. It gave me nightmares.
Blitz.
Freestyle nightmares.
Our audience and our fans and our wonderful fellowship members, you will realize that Blitz has one of the craziest memories like ever. He will be able to like quote something that happened in like, in his infancy years. He'll be like, oh yeah, Mom, remember that time you told me to shut the fuck up when I was 2 years old?
Terrible short-term memory, good long-term memory. But I also remember it was like, close your eyes and go to sleep, something, something, counting sheep. Like, I remember it. It's like I've seen that movie in years, but I remember it, and I really remember George Lopez. I also remember the villain, Minus, who was like...
The fact that he even remembers the guy's name is impressive to me.
I don't remember the main character's name. He was bland as hell, but Minus, that's one of the greatest kid actors of all time. Let me just say, that dude, he is hamming it up. This kid loves it. He loves it that he's like, I'm bad! I got the bad imagination powers! Like, he's like a hilarious, evil villain in like a Sesame Street cartoon. It's kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Yeah, I like movies. I remember a lot of things about movies. Everybody watch Halloween 3. It's the best one. Don't listen to that Mike Myers jazz.
So I figure as we're coming up to the end of this episode, we could kind of just like reminisce a little bit about this episode, about our findings, about what we've come across. Let the people know what we got coming up for them in episodes to come.
For sure.
I think that the unicorn is impossible to find. unless you stumble upon it somehow. I think it's like going to be... Have you seen those videos on the internet where they take 3 cups and they put $100 in one cup and then $1,000 in the 2 other cups?
Yep.
And then they're like, hey, if you follow this $100, you get to keep the $100.
Yeah.
And then they do the cup trick, and the person obviously like is able to catch the cup pretty quickly because they're looking for the cup. And then you win $100, and then they show you like, ha ha ha, if you made the wrong choice, you could have had $1,000.
Yep.
That is what this unicorn is in this book. It's like, here are the possible right choices. However, you need to make the intentional wrong one to get to the unicorn. Because we made 2 intentionally wrong choices to get to the alien. Yep. And we would have never got to the alien if we were minding about the Yeti. So I'm still trying to figure out how we could possibly get to this fucking unicorn.
Here's what we'll do next week. We'll do an idiot playthrough. We're not gonna start from anywhere specific.
You mean that's not what we just did? No, I'm just kidding.
We're gonna browse. If you guys think this is a good idea, let us know. We'll more casually peruse through the book. We won't directly be like, oh, we found the unicorn ending, let's get it. But we will go to more random pages maybe where there's different decisions that we haven't reached yet, or like, we'll do a little less structure. There'll be a little less structure to it. We'll really delve into more of the depth of the book and like freely go around a little more and stuff.
Another thing I was thinking, and be sure to let us know what you think in the comment section, but I think that we could also try doing something where we just read through the pages chronologically. And I think that'd be a fun little thought experiment to see what ends up. So because maybe one is going to lead us to like page 1 leads us to like the options of page 7 and 4, but like what if we're just like, no, we're gonna go to 2.
So maybe we'll do that real casual. We'll just read the pages quickly, we'll skim them with you guys as we will read new ones, and if we see an adventure path, that's what we'll do. If we see a path, that we get the ones we want to do that we haven't got before, we'll do them. And it's it's funny because for all we know, we were already one decision away from.
And let us know what you think about that process, because we're thinking about maybe doing that as like a form moving forward. So we're thinking about maybe attacking the episode, like attacking a book. Episode 1 will be a legit playthrough of us trying to get to the quote-unquote proper ending. The second run-through will be kind of like what we just did now for the Abominable Snowman, where we just try to do different things to try to get to a predetermined destination.
We found some, but not the one we were looking for.
And I think what we're going to do is the third one, we will do like the collaborative playthrough where we just do what you guys want.
Yes. Yeah. I have a funny story maybe we could tell a little bit. It's about how, you know this, Tejj, but I'll let the audience know because I think it's funny. Because obviously we take notes, so I took a lot of notes from the first episode, but I put them on my phone thinking that was a good idea. And then I went to help my friend out with something in the city, and there were porta potties where we were, and I dropped my phone in a porta potty in tons of like chemical water and...
Splish splash.
Inches of shit, like tons of shit. It was terrible. And so I thought to myself, you know what, those notes weren't that great anyway, I'm going to get a notebook. I'm going to write all my notes in a notebook.
And why don't you tell them what you told me when you got the notebook?
Put the notebook in my bag. I had a delicious pineapple hint water in my bag.
But what did you tell me when you... Because, all right, so Blitz told me the porta potty story when we recorded episode 2. And I was like, oh man, that really sucks. And he was like, yo, check it out. I got this notebook instead. And why don't you tell them what you told me about the notebook?
I was like, notebook is the move, man. Like, you can't trust technology. I gotta stick to pen and paper like how I do my D&D.
Much more secure, he said.
And then I put it in my bag. Stupid, like a fucking idiot. I have things in the side of my bag to not do this. Put a hint water in my bag. Love hint water, by the way. Shout out. Spilt it. Got it all over this book. Like, there was like nothing else even in this bag. Like, I just was going to work and I had like my lunch in there in a bag and then just that book so I could do a little like note-taking at work on my break. And, yep, soaked completely. I could barely read it, but I managed to translate most of my notes, so that's good. But I just thought that was funny. You can't trust anything. You can't trust yourself, really, is the moral of the story. I cannot trust myself not to break things. Look at that. There's an alarm. But yeah, I thought I'd share that with you guys. Thought it was funny. And what else you got to say, Tejj?
I just want to say, it's the weekend of Thanksgiving. I want to, say I'm thankful for everything, But I'm also especially thankful for you, Blitz, for letting me come on these journeys with you, man.
And I'm thankful for you being my co-host, Tejj. I'm thankful, be thankful for your family or everything. We're thankful to the internet, too, for having this platform where we could experiment and get better at this and work on it and make something cool that hopefully you guys will help us make, and we'll just make something cool, It's like I'm thankful for the internet, man. We live in a crazy age. Love you guys. Love my Tejj.
Love my Blitz.
We're living large, baby.
And shout outs to Blitz's girlfriend, Caroline, who's been helping us with all our social
Love
medias.
you, baby.
She's here today. Shout out.
Shout out. Love you.
Thanks, homies.